Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. Got a quick question for you. Do you have a hard time trusting guys? Have you given your heart to a guy in the past and you've given him your all, but then ultimately he betrayed you? He let you down. He broke your heart. And you're having a hard time opening up to love again. Well, if so, I want you to pay close attention because today we're going to talk about how you can learn how to trust the right guy for the right reasons. Now, before we get started, I'm going to give you some earth-shattering news, okay? And I really want you to pay close attention to this. Are you ready? Okay, come here. Come closer. Here it is. Not all men are trustworthy. What? Joe, what are you saying? Not all men are trustworthy, but you're a guy. Yes, I'm a guy. And I'll be the first to admit that not every man is worthy of your trust. And you've got to understand that. You know, one of the ways you go wrong, where you get yourself in trouble, is you trust the wrong guy. You know, the boys, as we've spoken about many a time. So you need to go in with the understanding that trust is a privilege, not a right. Okay, and I'm going to say it again. Trust is a privilege, not a right. And a man doesn't get your trust until he earns it. So what you need to do is you need to sit back and go, you're a guy. I don't know if you're a boy or a man. So you've got to show me. And you also have to understand that just because he says and does all the right things on the first 3 dates in the first 3 weeks doesn't mean that he's not a wolf in sheep's clothing. You know what I mean, right? So you've got to sit back and go, okay, this sounds good. It looks wonderful, but is this really true? Who are you really? And if you understand that and you work with that mentality, half the battle is going to be over because you're not going to rush into things. You're not going to jump into things. You're not going to get so focused on this chemistry that your hormones and your chemistry takes over and you lose yourself and you get yourself in trouble. You know what I mean by getting yourself in trouble? You wind up getting involved with a guy who's never going to give you the relationship that you really want. So when you understand that trust is a privilege, not a right, and you sit back and you allow the guy to show you if he's trustworthy or not, I can't tell you how this is going to change the game. Now, what you also have to understand is it's important to learn how to trust yourself. See, when a woman says that I don't trust a guy, what I always help her realize is that, you know what? You don't trust yourself enough to identify guys who are not trustworthy. And that's what it really comes down to. When you get to the point where you're just like, you know what? I'm smart enough to identify guys who are not trustworthy. I'm smart enough not to jump into a relationship. I'm smart enough to take my time to allow a guy to show me his true colors. And then you just sit back. You simply allow him to show you if he's trustworthy or not. And by doing that, you invariably protect yourself from not getting hurt again. Now, does that guarantee it? No, there are no guarantees in life. As they say, the only guarantees are death and taxes. But what you have to understand, by not trusting a guy, by being afraid of getting hurt again, you are keeping yourself from the very thing that you want. You know, by not trusting a guy, you are keeping yourself from opening up and being a woman that's going to attract the guy who wants to spend the rest of his life with a woman. Because what you need to understand, if you don't trust a guy and you have these walls up, good men are going to recognize that. They're going to know that. And they may try in the beginning to break down your walls, but I am telling you this as a man. Ultimately, we get to the point is, you know what? This is too much freaking work. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, she's not going to trust me. And so if she's not going to trust me, my life is going to be living hell. So therefore, I'm out of there. And that's how us guys work. That's how us men work. Okay, we can smell it from a mile away. So you've got to understand that. You've got to make that work to your advantage. So if you have trouble trusting guys, that's what you have to look at. That's what you have to work on and get over that trust. And again, I'm telling you, you shouldn't trust every guy. Okay, not at all. You should only trust those guys who show you they are trustworthy. Now I know you said, but Joe, none of them are trustworthy. They're all scumbags. I get that's what you feel. And maybe based on your experience, that's what's been showing up for you. But I promise you, when you change your mindset, you change your energy, and you start realizing there are good, trustworthy men out there, and you're smart enough to identify and recognize those guys who are trustworthy and who aren't trustworthy, then all of a sudden you're going to start noticing, wow, all these decent guys start showing up. It doesn't make sense. And yes, it won't make sense because it's happening on an energetic level, and I see it all the time. So that's today's wisdom. Now, remember, there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing something. Wisdom is taking that knowledge and applying it so that you can produce and create the results you're looking for in your love life. So here's your mirror time exercise. Step out of your life as an observer and get real. Do you have a hard time trusting guys? And do you have a hard time trusting yourself? If so, what's one thing you can do today to start making changes to eradicate that and eliminate it? Okay, so go ahead, take that mirror time, and then put your questions, comments, and feedback in the box below. As always, an honor and privilege to be with you. I'll see you next time. Much love.